So Ashton Jeanty, right? I mean, last year you called it and we talked about it. I think we really had it pegged. I think right around, we said running back 9 to 15. We thought that's probably where he'd end up. And that, sure enough, that's where he was. Do you think that they've done enough? And with the new coaching system coming in, do you think maybe he can improve a couple spots better, or do you expect more of the same this year from Ashton Jeanty?
I mean, I've seen people that are talking about like, oh, he's going to be a league winner. Like, man, I don't. It's still really tough defenses he's playing. Chris Jones is not going anywhere with Kansas City, whether or not, and whether or not he's taking a step back or not. These teams are all going to they're going to improve. There's no way Kansas City's going to be that bad again next year. Yes, Justin Fields is kind of a laughing stock QB in the NFL, but he's going to be able to do enough on schedule, I think, to keep this team, from having to tank the back end of the year, right? And I do think that Denver's made significant improvements, and their defense was really tough to begin with, and then you got the Chargers, who just seem to be that they had a really good defense last year. Now they lose their defensive coordinator to go on to be a head coach. But the pieces really didn't get worse, right? So like if they just keep that, if I don't recall who their defensive coordinator they're bringing in is, but irregardless, I think the players stayed mostly the same. So if that's the case and they can just keep afloat, it's still going to be really tough for Jeanty 6 games out of the year. Yes, they'll have a last place schedule. That'll really help this team out, right? So in that regard, we may see improvement. I'm not under the belief that Jeanty's going to be top 5, but I'm not under the belief that he can't fall anywhere between 6 and 12 pretty easily. So I think that's where maybe a slight uptick from last year. But we also got other teams that seem like they're improving too. Could Kenneth Walker in the same division end up in the top 6 to 12, right? That may push Jeanty down, depending on where that is. And I know we don't want to get too high on Kenneth Walker because there's Kenneth Walker the turd for a reason, right? And then we've got, but we've also got a Marion Hampton who's still in that. And I know you're not a big fan of that, but like if that offensive line gets healthy, he should go up a little bit. J.K. Dobbins in the same division. All three of these guys that popped into my head, like that guy could end up being in the same range too. Could Travion Henderson end up being better? There's all kinds of things. And of course, Jeremiah Love is already, the next coming, right? So depending on where he lands, it's going to be tough sledding, but I bet Jeanty is going to take a slight step up. I think not only adding Linderbaum, a healthy Colton Miller helps. Clint Kubiak himself should help. Jettisoning out everything that Pete Carroll had to do with this team, I think is going to help Ashton Jeanty. As long as they get mid-level QB play, I think that Ashton Jeanty should at least move up incrementally. You know what I mean? Maybe a couple spots. I'm not buying this league winner crap. Again, the last place schedule is going to have a lot to do with that, but I think that it's still really tough in his division, so on and so forth.